Hey everyone, welcome to Sidetrack Adventures. This is Steve. Right now, we're near the southwest corner of California, and for that matter, the continental United States. And today, we're going to be taking a look at what's been called the most unfriendly friendship park in the world. We're starting out today in Imperial Beach, California, right outside of Borderfield State Park in the Tiwana River estuary. And while we're here, we might as well walk down the beach and talk a little bit about the parks and why we're not closer to the border right now. Apparently on this beach we need to look out for snakes, but snakes are really the least of the problems here right now. Especially compared to some of the other California state parks, Borderfield State Park doesn't see a lot of visitors every year. During World War II, the park was part of a naval base, but in 1971, as part of President Nixon's legacy of parks, the surplus Navy land was turned over to the state of California for the purpose of becoming a park. The Tiwana River flows from Mexico and crosses the international border southeast of here as it continues north to hit the ocean. And that's where the park runs into a problem. The Tiwana River goes dry at times, but when it flows, it is heavily polluted with raw sewage from Tijuana, Mexico. Normally this is only an issue during winter months as there isn't much water flowing in the summer, but in August 2023, due to Hurricane Hilary, a wastewater treatment plant was damaged, leading to flows of contaminated water into the park, closing it down. Then in June 2024, another pump station was damaged due to storms, and that led to more sewage-contaminated water, mud, and debris entering the park. The sewage in the Tiwana River isn't a new problem, and they've been working on it since at least the 1930s. In 2017, a study was done and found that 34,000 people on both sides of the border became sick because of the sewage that year alone. We're getting closer to where the Tiwana River hits the ocean, and I could say, based on the smell, there is no doubt that sewage is flowing through the river. From 2018 to 2024, more than 100 billion, with a B, gallons of wastewater has flowed from Mexico into the United States via the Tiwana River, according to the International Boundary and Water Commission. In spite of the sewage problem, this park and the salt and freshwater marshes that are found here are an important wildlife habitat. We've made it to where the Tiwana River hits the ocean, which is as far south as we can walk on this beach. We're still about a mile or so from the border. You could probably see where the border wall hits the ocean behind me. And just be thankful that technology hasn't advanced to the point where video captures smell yet, because it is not a pleasant smell here. So let's get out of here and see if we can get a little bit closer to the southwest corner of California. Real quick, here's a closer look at where the Tiwana River hits the ocean. Because people aren't able to access it, the other side of the river looks like a haven for birds right now. I'm not sure that the sewage is the best for their health, though. That's Tiwana, and you can see the border wall hitting the ocean. At the southwest corner of the state is where we could find the Friendship Park, which is a binational park where people from both sides of the international border between the United States and Mexico were allowed to meet up. When we get closer, you'll see why it's called the Unfriendliest Friendship Park, though. Anyways, let's get out of here and head closer to the Friendship Park. We're still in Imperial Beach, but we're a lot closer to the border now. That's the border wall up on the hill above us. And here's the Borderfield State Park sign. And this barbed wire fence is beautifully decorated. But unfortunately, because of the sewage, the park has been completely closed for the last year. Because Borderfield State Park is closed, this is as close as we can get to the southwest corner of California and the Friendship Park. In the United States, at least. If we cross over into Mexico, we should still be able to see both of them. So that's where we're going next. Well, we're back at the border wall, this time in Mexico, and the sky had cleared up inland where you cross the border, but it's still overcast here, unfortunately. Here's a look inside the border wall. I don't think a lot of people realize there are actually two border walls here, and the Friendship Park is between the two walls. And the Friendship Park should be this way a little bit further, so we'll head over there. And you can kind of see what's going on this side of the border. There's some corn growing here. And a random dog walking down the street. Do not see an owner for that dog, but it seemed like it knows where it's going. And there's some art on the wall. This area is called Playas de Tijuana, and it's a popular beach destination for people in Tijuana. There's a sign here for a missing dog, but it doesn't appear to be the same dog that just walked by us, but that dog did look like it knew where it was going. Across the street from where we are is a bullfighting arena. And down this way is a lighthouse and some more monuments, but we'll check those out in just a minute. And here is the sign for the Friendship Park. It's kind of hard to tell, but that's former First Lady of the United States, Pat Nixon, in one of the pictures. She was here at the dedication of the park in 1971. This door in the wall is the current entrance to the park on the Mexican side of the border, and it is locked up tight. The park has not been open since 2019. The Friendship Park was originally a place where people from both sides of the border could meet up, or families could get together, and there would even be weddings here so people in both countries could attend. But as you can see, that's not possible now. There's the entrance to the park on the US side, but this doesn't look like much of a park right now. In 2007, a garden of native plants were planted on both sides of the border as a garden that belongs to both nations. But in 2009, the federal government seized the land the park was on from the state of California and built a second border fence in 2011, cutting off access to the Friendship Park. The Border Patrol did allow limited access to the park one day a week, but they haven't allowed any access since 2019. In 2020, the US Border Patrol bulldozed the garden on the US side with no warning, which caused an international outcry. The Border Patrol did apologize and allowed a partial replanting, but I currently don't see anything. The garden has been kept up on the Mexican side of the border. There are a few other monuments here in this park. This one here signifies that this is the northwest corner of the Latin America nuclear-free zone. North and South America from this point south are supposed to be nuclear weapon-free. This is monument number 258, the westernmost boundary marker noting the border between the United States and Mexico. The original boundary marker that was placed here in 1849 following the signing of the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was a cairn of rocks. Then a white marble shaft was manufactured in New York and transported to San Diego and dedicated in June 1851. By 1894, the monument had been so damaged by visitors coming to see it that you couldn't even read the inscriptions anymore. The monument was removed and a new one was constructed in San Diego, and when they reinstalled it, they put a cage around it to protect it. This marker has seen a lot of changes on the border here since 1894. At one point, the border fence bisected the monument, but in the 1990s, when a more substantial border wall was built, it was built a few feet to the north. So, now that I've stepped north of the monument, technically I'm now in the United States. And here's a look back at the monument. The mural of Trump and Biden kissing up there, I'm sure will get quite a few people worked up. Because of the Friendship Park, they put a mesh against the wall here so that nobody can hand anything through to anyone in the park. Let's head down and see if we can get a look at the southwest corner of California through the wall, and also the northwest corner of Mexico. First, let's take a look out on this viewing platform. There's Playas de Tijuana. And here we have a good view of the border wall heading into the sea and the northwest corner of Mexico. And here's a look at the lighthouse and the bull rink behind us. I don't know much about the lighthouse, but I do know that it's been here for over 30 years. There's also a piece of the Berlin Wall down here. And that noise you hear is somebody across the street blowing into a shell to purify people or something. The top dolphin on this statue sure has a mean-looking expression on his face. It's too bad the Friendship Park has been closed for so long, but at the same time, I imagine the logistics of allowing people from both sides of the border into it is a nightmare for the Border Patrol to deal with. Hopefully a solution can be found, because as it is right now, it looks like a demilitarized zone and not a park. And speaking of the Border Patrol, I actually haven't seen any through the fence yet, but there are cameras everywhere, so I'm sure everyone's every move is being watched over here. We'll have to pass by these people doing yoga here. And it looks like this is where the newer border wall ends and the two border walls kind of connect, so we're down to only one border fence here. There's the end of the northern border wall. And that right there is the southwest corner of California. We'll get a little bit closer here. I'm going to try to stay out of the water. There's no sewage smell here, but I'm sure the contamination doesn't stop at the wall. But here is the southwest corner of California and the northwest corner of Mexico. Looking into California, there are quite a few birds hanging out on the beach with no people to bother them. Of course, there are some tire tracks, and there is a Border Patrol vehicle up on the hill watching the border wall here. It's quite a contrast. You look at empty California here, and then you turn around, and despite it being an overcast day, people enjoying the beach. So that's our look at the unfriendliest Friendship Park and the southwest corner of California, or at least as close as we can get. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.